Glaskin Subjugation War, Part 1. The more one engages with Sylvania's failed swordsman, the clearer its true merit becomes. Frequently overlooked details reveal unexpected intentions, and special episodes leave players in awe as they cleverly hide intricate scenarios. Even previously excited characters surprise us with newfound revelations about their stories. When immersed in this elaborately crafted world of students, faculty, and external factions, it's almost natural to find yourself compelled to play. The next installment, drawn in by the completion of the main scenario and a sense of longing. The injustice of being one of the few, an early scenario street thug who takes a beating only to exit the stage, cannot be overstated, though that's not the immediate point. It's obvious that not all characters can be granted the same significance in a story so rich with them. For every influential figure, someone else remains a side note, destined to fade into the backdrop. Yet, I have felt a sense of incongruity at least once. Bosses like Act 2's Seeker Glast, Act 3's Awaken Lucy, and Act 4's the head of the household, Kreben Rothtailor, clearly had effort poured into their portrayal. They stood blocking the protagonist, Taeli, with a range of motivations, backgrounds, and personal philosophies, each exerting a subtle yet undeniable influence. However, Act 1 boss Yenneker Folliver seemed somewhat out of place. Amidst the array of bosses captivating players with their distinct philosophies and dazzling abilities, only Yenneker appeared to lack agency. Seduced by the whispers of a high-ranking Darkspirit Velaspher, she took over the student council building and unleashed spirits under her contract, enhanced into a frenzied state by Velaspher's rage, while looking out over impending darkness from atop the nail hall. The difference from her typically positive and energetic character undoubtedly leaves a strong impression on players. But that was it. The episode marking the end of Act 1, the Glaskin Subjugation War, is Taeli's moment of epiphany, realizing the path of the Swordmaster and succeeding in cutting down a supreme spirit. As Taeli slices off Glaskin's arm, it signifies the grand narrative unfolding. Unforetold. I remember looking up strategies for this particular challenge due to its difficulty level when I first played. I think it was a guide by someone using the nickname Pepero. What's his name? Now, it's a distant memory with little relevance. Inevitably, all scenarios focus on Taeli's development. Hence Yenneker is pushed further down the line of priority. Her storyline, neglected and leaving much unknown, falling prey to the malevolent whispers of Velaspher and consumed by the darkness within. This vague explanation is all we're given. But I know Sylvania's failed swordsman does not waste significant characters in such a way. There must have been an intention or message behind positioning Yenneker Folliver as the final boss of Act 1. Despite my passionate, fan-fueled analysis, I failed to uncover anything substantial. Perhaps meaningful content was lost in the production or review process. Just as I was about to settle with that nagging unrest, I decided I really must build a cabin. The next day, with a resolved tone, I repeated those words. I had gained some endurance. Thanks to magic, processing materials was getting faster. Food supplies were accumulating. No immediate worries about tomorrow's meal. It was time to lay the groundwork For long-term survival in this forest, the wooden shelter I currently used for rest hardly warranted even a pretense of durability. Despite regular maintenance, the labor investment did not match its utility. Without proper walls and a roof, heating efficiency was terrible. Though it's a warm spring now, I must consider the 3 winters I'll spend in this forest. That crumbling shelter simply cannot provide a stable living environment. Furthermore, long-term projects like building a wooden cabin significantly increase crafting expertise. It's an ideal opportunity to boost the sluggish progression of my life skill levels. My craftsmanship skill level is stuck at 10, and the design skill, challenging to level up, is experiencing stunted growth. As a character like Ed Roth Taylor naturally excels in production, I must capitalize on that proficiency to positively impact other abilities. Leveraging specialized talents is equally beneficial in real life and gaming. Now that I think about it, I've also taken down the Act 1 mid-boss. The scenario seems to be progressing without issues. Although I was briefly alarmed when Lucy thrashed during the joint combat training, the subsequent news suggests the story is on track without any major complications. There's talk that the middle boss of Act 1, the alchemy department's You Meddlesome Elvira, was knocked out by Taily, and that princess, Frequenia, the student council, even mentioned as a potential candidate for the next president. Rumors have also reached my ears about Golden Daughter Lortel's reconciliation episode with Yanika, and since Lortel visited not long ago, things appear to be going well. Everything is moving along as per the official story, so I needn't worry further about the episode's progress. It's not like I'm in a position where my own life isn't going well. I should be focusing on self-improvement, salvaging what I can from my own journey. Concentrating on the troubles of others won't do if it hinders my own path. That would be a classic case of mistaken priorities. Time to get moving. There's still time before the end of Act 1. Besides dealing with tuition, I'm making decent academic progress. A surprisingly positive outcome feels within reach. I start preparing fish caught from the pond, content with my progress. Today, I've caught a notably large one. It's my first attempt at cooking such a sizable fish, and I've pondered how to approach it. When in doubt, a sprinkling of salt and some grilling usually does the trick. I'll make do with this for dinner, and the herbs Belmayer advised. I've gathered quite a bit, so let's brew a fragrant herb tea and drink it. Before diving into the evening studies, it was the evening of the day after tomorrow that Yanika Failover occupied the student council hall. What should have been the final battle of Act 1 at the end of the semester had been brought forward by a whole month. In some ways, it was a disaster-like anomaly. Of this strategy guide is a summary of the detailed information and strategies from the Pepera Peepeeds practical guide for beginners to the Act 1 boss battle in detailed steps. Link omitted. Please refer to the original article for a more comprehensive strategy guide. Act 1, Chapter 10, The Final Stage. Bossa Elementalist Yanika Failover. Yanika, the Elemental Summoner. The boss battle consists of 5 phases. It is pretty long, so check your consumables and equipment durability before entering. Page 1. Assemble the punitive force. Completion criteria. Summon Princess Fina of Mercy, Spear of Foliage Zix, Golden Daughter. Lortel, Companion Ayla, Meddlesome Elvira. Gloomy Clevius to the Student Plaza. Additional completion criteria. Summon Romantic Adele. Additional completion criteria. Summon Slothful Lucy. Additional completion criteria. Summon Senior Maid Belly. Enemies appearing Elemental Scar 120. Blessing Young Spirit 60. Elemental Trace 60. Lesser Fire Spirit Goda 1. Lesser Ice Spirit Elkira. Lesser Wind Spirit Norton 1. Lesser Earth Spirit Pike 1. Lesser Light Spirit Lakey 1. If you approach the outskirts of the Professor Building, where spatial sealing magic is in use, you will receive an instant death penalty. Do not carelessly go into the outskirts. It is most efficient to move through Allen Plaza, Obel Hall, Tanius Magic Supply Storage, West Archery Range, Nilton Laboratory, then to the Student Plaza. It is not necessary to defeat all the spirits dominating the routes. However, if you defeat the Lesser Fire Spirit Goda and Lesser Light Spirit Lakey early, it helps efficiently plan your approach. The additional completion criteria do not offer much except for a slight increase in faction favor. These characters will also not participate in the punitive force. However, Romantic Adele provides a useful buff during the boss fight, so make sure to meet him. If you aim for 100% completion, you can find Adele playing the ukulele behind the bushes at the West Archery Range, Lucy napping on the rooftop of Obel Hall and Bell, next to the statue in Allen Plaza. If you to invest in alchemical skills for spirits, it is convenient to increase your proficiency in spirit understanding and spirit empathy during this phase. Page 2. Operation to retake the student. Council Hall completion. Criteria. Find the location of Elementalist Unica. Enemies appearing Elemental Scar 30. Elemental Trace 30. Intermediate Wind Spirit Fessy 1. Intermediate Fire Spirit Algos 1. Spirit Tree Altar 1. Elementalist Unica is in Nail Hall. However, do not enter Nail Hall first. Choosing the option to enter Nail Hall first, as suggested by the Golden Daughter Lortel, will immediately lead to a bad ending. Be careful. Intermediate spirits are immune to attacks of their own element. If it's too difficult, wait until the Puniforce members take down the intermediate spirit. If you enter Highs Hall first, when Spirit Fessy appears, and if you enter Glucked Hall first, Fire Spirit Ogos appears. Choose based on your elemental skills. There is a trick involving straight cuts when fighting the Guardian Spirit Tree Altar. Refer to the original article for the method. Page 3G. Nail Hall Corridor Battle Completion Criteria. Reach the combat practice room, where Elementalist Unica is. Enemies appearing. Higher Fire Spirit Tarkin 1. The choice you make after defeating the Guardian Spirit Tree Altar will affect the route you take. Concentrate as the branching paths go by quickly. The key is to constantly damage the tail, using the elemental cut learned in Chapter 9 of Act 1. If the tail is severed, use the elemental cut again to target the head. Dodge the flying ignition spells, and tail lashes regularly. Repeated damage leads to stacking bleed and burn status. During the battle, there are 3 cutscenes where hallway pillars collapse. Avoid being crushed by the falling pillars, or you'll die instantly. Page 4. The final battle completion criteria. Destroy the summoning rituals of the Supreme Darkness Spirit Glaskin. Enemies appearing higher Dark Spirit Velisfer 1. Elementalist Unica Fillover 1. Since Phase 5 is just an event cutscene, this is the true final battle. Use all remaining consumables in this mindset, attacking Unica. While she is constructing the summoning, will ritual reflect damage back due to the Darkness Veil. If Velisfer is attacked first and stunned, the Darkness Veil gets removed for a short time, allowing you to damage Unica. However, be wary of the counterspells Unica casts. If the Princess Fenia of Mercy, constructing protection spells dies, a bad ending will occur immediately. Keep monitoring her health status. The Curse of Bloodline from Velisfer won't affect you if you met Romantic Adele in Phase 1. However, not all members of the punitive force will be immune, so be cautious. Page 5. Glaskin Subjugation Completion Criteria. Suppress the right arm of the Supreme Darkness Spirit Glaskin. Enemies appearing Supreme Darkness Glaskin right arm 1. This is an event scene. Just watch and enjoy. Afterwards, the Sword Saint ritual will be added to your skill tab. Fill the proficiency for it, and you'll receive generous bonus stats. So make sure to practice it whenever you have time. Additional information if you don't suppress Unica failover and reach Phase 5. Before dawn, Complete Glaskin is summoned, leading to a bad ending. Move quickly. That's the summarized information. It seems many beginners are struggling to clear Act 1. I've summarized only the crucial information, so be sure to check it before entering the final battle. Good luck. Somewhere in the dark forest, an owl hoots mournfully, accompanying it like a harmony. The chirping of crickets and the occasional rustling of leaves in the nighttime breeze. One might find a certain charm in the midnight forest if they listen. Looking at the crackling campfire, then up at the starry sky, sentimental thoughts can't help but arise. Gazing at the countless stars fixed like grains of salt, I ponder the insignificance of my current troubles from the vast perspective of the universe. Such futile thoughts. And, with that realization, another thought strikes me. There's no guarantee that all things in life will proceed normally. Struck by the painfully obvious, I couldn't help but let out a hollow laugh. I'm rather well adjusted to this life. But one should never become complacent in the face of potential danger. With renewed resolve, I tossed the stick I was holding into the campfire. It's time to end the day. Stretching, I lay down quietly in the resting area, hoping for another day of peace tomorrow.